Well, is there any other good news you can give us, Kate?
Well, the grass is going to be happy and the plants are going to be happy. I like it. My grass will look like the golf course. Is Lynn here? Because I want to pull some stuff off the docket.
Here, she's just working through some audio issues.
All right.
What do you want to pull, Kate?
Huh?
What do you want to pull?
I just want quick comments on, let's see. B4,
Yeah.
B8.
You mean the Irish school?
Yeah, I just have a question.
Okay.
I and L.
Okay.
Oh, Jean, your hair looks nice.
Oh, my goodness. Great. It's growing long. Let's see, it's 6:30. Okay, we're going to start the meeting. Madam Clerk, can you read the roll, please?
Amy Bova,
Here,
Lynn Underwood Segley,
Here.
Elizabeth Fuerte,
Here.
Charlie Holder,
Here.
Catherine E. Leonard,
Here,
Angela McCalla, and Jean Marie Napolitano.
Here. Can
There
we-
is a quorum present, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the
pledge
flag
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, has anybody signed up for the citizens forum?
Madam Chair, I have not been contacted by anyone. And I don't see anyone with their hand up.
No, neither do I. Okay. Okay. First order of business, please.
The consent calendar?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the consent calendar with the exceptions of B4, B5, B8, and H. Is there anything else that anybody wants to pull?
The one I asked for,
I'm
it should
recusing
have
myself from
been, it
H.
should have been B7
Yes, and
instead of 8. Yeah,
Sorry, B7 instead of B8?
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
Oh,
so
I did it, yeah.
it would be B4, B5, B7, and H.
yes,
I,
Motion to approve.
I had asked for I.
there's a motion and I, Kate.
Yeah, I said I and L.
Hi.
Just quick questions, yeah.
Okay.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I will say that Counselor Holder is recusing himself on item number H.
Application for a special event, Interlight Center for Yoga and Meditation, DBA outdoor yoga classes.
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Yes,
I
Counselor.
just have a question. It says various days and hours, and this is at King Park and Easton's Beach. And I know that when this, I don't know if it's the same group that was working out of Morton Park last year, but is there a specific area at King Park where they want to be, and how many days? Because a lot of kids are in various areas of the park.
Is there anybody here that's representing Interlight?
It doesn't really say how many people will participate, so that's why I asked. It looks like 8 to 20.
Hey,
I think it's a good thing. I just
yeah,
want to know where they'd be.
when they operated at Easton's Beach, there was no more than 8 to 10 people
All
involved.
right,
You didn't even,
Alright.
they were on the beach.
yeah, so I'm just asking. I think it's a good activity. I know that a lot of kids are down there. That's why I asked.
I believe the manager would like to speak.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Joe Nicholson, City Manager. Just incidentally, this is on the docket because of some issues that we ran into, not with this particular group, but with others. And during COVID, we required kind of a double dip, and that is our normal pre-pandemic use agreements that we had for the park, but we superimposed during the pandemic because of some issues, a special event requirement for these types of activities. In short, this matter should not have been on the docket, but we have at least come to a consensus from a staff standpoint as to how these matters will be handled going forward. And it's the pre-pandemic processes that we're using going forward. So I apologize. However, Kate, we'll keep an eye on these, on an activity like this, just to make sure it doesn't interfere with the use of these respective facilities.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
There's a motion and second, all, discussion.
Madam Chair?
Bova, yes.
I just wanted to ask a follow-up question of the city manager. When you said that this item shouldn't have been on here, is that just because you're still working through the procedures within the staff departments, or?
No. This has been reviewed by Parks and Recreation, particularly Eric Reese, who has approved these activities. That's how we handled it before. Use of a city park. We have use agreements that we operate under, and it just so happens that Laura Swistak, to her credit, asked me a couple of weeks ago, should this go on as a special event as well? Because that's the way we were handling these during the pandemic as well. And I didn't respond to her, but in some email exchanges between the solicitor, the clerk, and myself just yesterday, we kind of resolved the issue, and Parks and Recreation. I resolved the issue and said, we'll go back to the pre-pandemic management of these types of issues, because again, the superimposing, making the double dip, if you will, a double requirement of a use agreement, the negotiated use agreement, plus a special use permit, that was only imposed because we saw some abuses during the beginning of the pandemic with the use of some of our parks. So we were just kind of, tightening the lid down, if you will, but we have it well under control now.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah. Well, it would be nice if we know, because if people start calling us, at least we could say, and if it's not on the docket or we have no notification and people call us, we sound like we don't know what's going on in the parks.
Well, I could comment on that, but let me comment this way. It's, we simply have reverted to, and we can give you a list of things similar that may be going on, and we're just reverting to where we were pre-pandemic for the last 25 years, quite frankly.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Ready to vote? Ready to vote? All in favor, please raise your right hand.
I think we said yes.
Anything, any opposed?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Application for a special event license sale, Newport DBA Memorial Boat Parade.
Yes, this has been, the time for this has been amended from 5:30 to 6:30, and instead would be held from 7 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. So I make a motion to amend.
Second,
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Can I ask the clerk, is that the item that was referenced?
In my email to you today?
Yes.
No, it was not. That was a different one.
Oh, I'm sorry, which one was referenced then?
It is number 6, and I believe it is
Number 5.
number
Castle Hill.
Okay, I apologize. Okay, so let's just go back to the sale Newport, the boat parade, make a motion to approve from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. I apologize.
second,
second. All in discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Madam Clerk?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Now,
So,
the Castle Hill one.
applications for a special event license, Rhode Island Arts Foundation, DBA Newport Music Festival, Castle Hill, on July 12th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
So I will make a motion to amend from 6 to 7:30 to 7 to 8:30 p.m.
Is there a second? Second.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the amending the time from 7 to 8:30, please raise your right hand. Any opposed?
Passes unanimously, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
point of order.
Yes.
Is that for the Castle Hill Inn?
I would assume,
The only reason I'm asking is because I'm not sure how it works, and I think that's a nice event, but there's no outside entertainment except for Sunday and Monday. I think it's from 1 to 5.
I believe this is indoors.
Oh, all right, just asking. Thanks for the
Okay.
clarification. Yeah,
So we've changed the time from 7 to 8:30. Now we'll vote on the original motion as amended. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Okay, Madam.
Madam Chair, I didn't, from Councilor Bova. Okay, unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Application for a special event license, Iris School of Technology and Trades, DBA Iris Summer Gala.
Yes,
Madam Chair.
Motion to approve.
it's second. Councilor Leonard.
I just had a question. This is the gala and it's usually under the tent, very well attended. A lot of people who go there and donate. It's around 400 people and this would be in a tent. And I just want to clarify that hopefully the COVID numbers are down in Newport. And if there is a problem, that they would understand that it may not happen. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I know it's
I have
400 people in a tent.
I have somebody from the audience that has requested to speak, Glenn Bradfield. Mr. Bradfield?
Yes, I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. All right. I believe any event that has been scheduled also has to include their COVID plans for who they invite and abide in any COVID regulations at the time. So I think we're all set with them. Did someone make a motion and second to approve? Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Madam Clerk?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Communication from Coastal Resources Management Council regarding public notice file number 2021-03-020.
Motion to receive and refer to the Planning Board and Waterfront Commission.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. Councilor Bova.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a question. I'm not sure if it's for the city manager or for the clerk, kind of about the process of when these items get onto the docket, only because when I was looking at this item, I was a little concerned that it says that you have to notify them if you wish to protest, basically to give them a statement by April 15th, which is tomorrow. And I know
we routinely contact CRMC on these matters, and routinely they grant an extension of time to this. And in this instance, they have granted the extension of time. That's the process we follow in every application, because we're never going to make the date.
right,
And we have an extension of time. That's taken care of it.
yeah, and that's kind of what I figured that was the case, but I wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Madam Clerk?
Motion passes unanimously 6-0. Council holders recused.
Thank you.
Communication from Robert L. Bestoso.
Councilor Leonard?
Yeah, I ask that this be pulled because I know of other families where the students have been enrolled in different cities rather than Newport. So we received this letter from Mr. Bestoso. I told him I would pull it off the docket. And I believe that state law allows students to go to other school systems, but I think we should probably refer this to the school department so that we can find out how it would apply to Mr. Bestoso and his children. So I think that should go to school administration, and hopefully he can get a response.
Yes, it's on the bottom of the item, receive and refer to school administration.
I make a motion to receive and refer to school administration.
Second.
There's a motion second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Communication from Maya Woods Arthur on behalf of Everytown for gun safety.
Yes, Councilor Leonard.
Could I make a motion first to receive and refer to school administration?
Second.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion. Councilor Leonard.
I pulled this, I actually shouldn't have laughed, but I kind of did. I don't know if this is a national movement because there's really no address from Maya Woods Arthur. And I understand what she's asking for about gun safety, but I can tell you that orange is worn by hunters. So I saw that and said, hunters do practice gun safety. And I understand what the movement is. I'm not sure exactly what they're looking for, but I can say for myself, I believe in gun safety too, but I also believe in the right to bear arms. So I'm not sure where she lives and how this came to be on the docket.
Yes, Councilor Boga.
Thank you. I will say, I'm not sure, I haven't spoken with Maya Woods Arthur before, but I do know that the movement for gun safety has used the color orange for a number of years now. And I believe, and I think, Madam Chair, you may recall this more than I, but I believe we've done this in the past, correct?
Yes, we have.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed? Madam Clerk?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Application for a special event license, Gray Matter Marketing, DBA Bank Newport 10 Miler, Fort Adams State Park, June 6th from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Motion to approve.
May I interrupt just for a moment and just, so I can ask Tom Shevlin if he's listening, if you could send a link as a panelist to Bill Riccio, that would be wonderful. He just texted me. Thank you. I apologize for butting in.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and second to approve the special event license for Gray Matter Marketing. Discussion? Yes, Councilor Leonard.
I would like to say that this is a really busy weekend. It's June 6th. We're talking about 1,000 people for expected attendance. We're talking about 5-hour route. And I looked at the diagram of the course, and I'd like to know, I see their proposed protocols, but I'm really concerned about the people that come to town to not only run, but to have activities later. And I know it says no on-site registration and discourage people over 65 from running, or people who have chronic lung disease and all of that. So I'd like to know what administration has to say about this busy weekend and a 5-hour run during COVID with 1,000 people.
Well, I think it's Joe Nicholson, city manager. I'm not so sure it's going to take anyone 5 hours to run 10 miles. I hope not. Maybe it'll take me that long, but I think most of you could run that in 5 hours. One of the things that you have to do, considering the number of people that's listed on the application, I'm sure the applicant knows this, in terms of COVID, you need to submit your application to RIDO 30 days prior to the event and discuss it with them, and RIDO superimposes whatever concerns they have on the applicant. So in terms of COVID, if you will, it's pretty well covered, and RIDO takes precedent in terms of how they wish the activity to occur. If you recall, we have a race scheduled May 22nd, and the same processes issued, in which the council did approve the May 22nd, I think marathon and a half marathon. And otherwise, RIDO imposed some circumstances on that race as well. And I would expect, depending upon how things develop, just as you commented earlier, Kate, about how things may develop during the course of the summer with COVID, RIDO closer to the event will impose whatever conditions they deem appropriate to keep not only the participants safe, but members of the public safe as well.
Didn't that other application that we voted on have fewer people and they had already gone to RIDO?
Well, RIDO, some new regulations came out in which it expanded the number of people that can participate in certain activities. It comes under the rubric of a venue of assembly, and this activity, which is going to occur on May 6th could have in excess of what they've listed on the application, I believe. But the caveat is that you have to, within 30 days of the event, you have to interact with Rhode Island Department of Health and get permission from them for that activity. And whether the applicant has done that yet, I doubt it. I would wait myself if I was running the application, and I'd make the application, in probably a week's time. But you have to submit it at least 30 days prior to the event. And we would be interested in seeing what those criteria are, so we can monitor it ourselves.
Yeah, because this is June, and are we anticipating any closing of streets?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. Generally, we try not to close them, but safety first with everything. And if some traffic needs to be held up, it gets held up.
Yeah, I always hear the same thing. If we don't think any streets will be closed, then they're closed. And then I said, are any streets closed? And the answer is, oh, we don't really remember.
I don't think that's the answer. I don't recall that at all.
I do.
Okay, is there any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Madam Clerk? Madam Clerk, can you announce the vote, please?
I'm sorry, I was muted. The motion passes 6-1 with Councillor Leonard opposed.
Thank you.
Application for a farmer's market license, Aquidneck Community Table, DBA Aquidneck Growers Market, 35 Dexter Street, Pell Elementary School.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion and second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Madam Clerk?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Application for a new vittling license, Bloody Bull LLC, DBA Manchester House, 24 Lees Wharf, in conjunction with liquor license transfer of 8 to 10 Broadway, Newport LLC.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Madam Clerk?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Appointments to boards and commissions.
Yes. In open space, Jean Frisbee, with her term expiring March 27th, 2023, and Dennis Bristow with the term expiring 3/27/2024. I move passage.
Second.
There's a motion second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Ayes have it. There are reappointments on the Tree and Open Space Commission. Lisa Peralt, term expires March 27th, 2024. And Stephanie Zinecki, term expires 3/27/2024. I move approval.
Second.
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 10.32 entitled Residential Parking Program to amend Section 10.32.100 and entitled Designated Residential Parking District to add Annandale Road.
Yes, this is a second reading to change the ordinance to allow sticker parking on the north end of Annandale Avenue. For whatever reason, long time ago, there was a bit of a fluke in the ordinance, and we just need to fix it. So thank you. I move approval.
Second.
The motion second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Action number 5967.
Yes, this is a recommendation from the city manager to approve the attached resolution extending the city manager's emergency powers through October 31st, 2021 with regard to the authority to work with restaurants and allow outdoor dining operations. I move approval.
Okay.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Yes, Counselor Leonard.
Yes, I had called the city manager earlier today, and I think that this would basically only affect some Broadway restaurants that are using public space. And I was curious to know how many public parking spaces, if any, were part of this restaurant COVID seating plan. And if so, I believe that this would have the sunset clause of October 31st, 2021, unless the city council actually put this in play in terms of changing the ordinances.
I'll just say, I had a conversation with Mr. Nicholson, in fact, several conversations, and it made sense that he was prominently involved in assigning and allowing outdoor spaces. And it's not only on Broadway, there are some other areas that have applied, and he's been able to work with the businesses. This would only be for the time frame that was stated. And once, you know, the season is over, then things would go back to the way they were. Councilor Bova?
I'm not through.
Oh, wait a minute.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to the city manager for the work that he did last summer. I know that he did a ton of work with our restaurants and everything and all that in place. And I mean, based on the resolution that we passed a couple weeks ago, it makes sense to me to allow him to continue doing that work directly with the businesses for this summer.
Thank you. Mr. Nicholson.
Yes, Madam Chair. Joe Nicholson, City Manager. I just wanted to comment that the impetus for this is as a result of the resolution that was indeed passed on January 27th of this year, and the need to progress towards regulations consistent with that resolution. And as you all know, the devil's in the details. I will work with the city solicitor and the city clerk in crafting resolutions that we think may be consistent with that resolution, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the ultimate policy of the council will be reflected in those regulations that we proffer. But we still need some time to reflect on and work on the intent of the resolution, the January 27th resolution, and hence the need for what I'm suggesting is the need for this action by the council this evening.
Yes, Councilor Leonard.
Yeah, what I was going to say was, I think that what's gone on so far has been very helpful because the businesses have taken a huge hit. So I totally agree with that. And my question just kind of revolved around, if we're going to, in fact, lead this to ordinances, I think we need all the information in terms of, are there public spaces that are presently used by the restaurants? Because I'm not opposed to it, because what I'm saying is the public asks, you know, well, what happened to those 3 parking spaces or those 2 parking spaces? I think it's just transparency that we all need to be aware of.
Councilor Holder.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Joe, is there any update, do you know of, from the state level on what they're talking about doing for outdoor dining?
No, Charlie, hasn't changed in the last, what's the last iteration, the 75%, I think it was?
No, I mean about extending the outdoor dining that's currently in place statewide.
Well, there was a bill, if what you're referring to, there is a bill in both the House and the Senate relative to putting a moratorium on local zoning regulations. Now, the interesting thing about the bill is it doesn't say anything about liquor license extensions or vit license extensions. It simply tries to superimpose on our zoning regulations a moratorium in terms of enforcement. That bill, I think, was heard by the House a few weeks ago. It was heard by, I think, the Senate last week. I don't necessarily, my opinion is that it's unnecessary, but we'll keep an eye on it. It's unnecessary because it's not, I don't think it's thorough in terms of the liquor license aspect of it, as well as the vit license extension aspect of it. But I'll also say that, and I'd have to defer to the solicitor on this, and I haven't discussed it with him, but I'm not so sure the confiscation of public spaces is as much a zoning issue as it is a use issue, and that is the confiscation of parking spaces or additional sidewalk spaces and the like, or indeed the use of other parking lots, which I imagine would be a zoning issue. Now, I guess Laura Swistack just sent a little chat to us and the bill, and I assume the Senate bill has been held for further study. But notwithstanding that, it's, we are, and we will continue to work with the industry as we have going forward, and we've worked with them successfully, as you know. I don't necessarily see that particular bill as being, it's thought as being helpful, but I don't necessarily see it as being that helpful.
Okay, are there any other questions for the manager? Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Madam Clerk? Madam Clerk, you're muted.
Action number 5968.
Was that last vote unanimous?
Was I on mute when I said that too? My apologies. Yes, it was unanimous. Action number 5968.
This is a recommendation from the city manager to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Newport and the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 8 FOP Union for the fiscal year July 1, 2020. What is that supposed to say? And
For the last year.
June, okay, of 2019 to June.
No, 2020.
2020.
Yeah, in the background and findings, it has the right date. The recommendations has it all messed up.
Oh, okay. So, right, I see it. So I'm sorry. July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021.
Second. Discussion. Councilor Bova?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to ask the city manager or the city solicitor, are you currently still engaged in negotiations for a contract that would pick up on July 1st, 2021? Because obviously this is a really short time.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we will be picking up, we'll have 3 contracts to negotiate as of July 1st, police, fire, and AFSCME.
Thank you. Councilor Leonard?
Yeah, just for transparency and for the public to know too, this contract is basically retroactive from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. So my question to the solicitor is, it looks to me, and just for clarification, that it's a 2% increase in salary. Is that in addition to the steps that are normally given every year unless somebody's at maximum or not?
No, the police only have steps
Like six.
or the first 5 years of their, when they're on the job. So after they've been there for 5 years, either a patrolman reaches his top step, or they move on to rank, or to other 6% positions and so forth.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Madam Clerk?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Action number 5969.
Yes, this is a recommendation from the Department of Public Services. It recommends awarding the contract associated with RFP number 21-018 Edward King House roof replacement and chimney repairs to Alden Bailey Restoration Corporation of Ridgefield, Connecticut, at a not to exceed project cost of $1,088,010. I move approval.
There's
Second.
the motion and second. Question, Counselor Leonard?
Yeah. I saw this docket item and I called the city manager because I almost fell over with the price. And he explained that this was due to historic preservation guidelines. And he said that this also encompassed the work on a chimney. So I was just kind of curious because I do a lot of construction stuff. How many square feet is this roof and what are the materials? Is it slate? Is it copper? Is it architectural shingles? Because we're talking $1.1 million here.
This is Joe Nicholson, City Manager. I know Bill Riccio is somewhere here. I'm going to have him give you some of the details, but you're right, Kate. It is has to be constructed with certain historical standards, and effectively the materials have to be replicated. You named 2 or 3 of the types of materials that have to be used, and we do have some track record in terms of cost with this type of construction. It's very detailed, and I would describe it as not normal roofing work, but very artisan-like work. But Bill, if you could, and we did have 5 or 6 bids on this, so and the numbers were all in the ballpark. And incidentally, $500,000 of this is CDBG money. So Bill, if you could just jump in here, I'd appreciate it, and see if you could add something to this conversation.
He has done mute.
So to answer Counselor Leonard's material question, it is not slate, it's not architectural shingles. It is what it is it's coated lead is what's up there now, and it will be replaced with either coated lead or another product that assimilates the appearance. As Joe said, $500,000 of this project is being funded by the CDBG program. So there has been much coordination with the Rhode Island Historic Preservation Commission up in Providence for what can be done in addition to the chimneys noted. There are multiple chimneys, and they are some of the most intricate chimneys I've ever seen. They're not square. There's parts of them are rounded, curved. The mortar sets are very different in these types of older structures. Part of the solicitation after we received the 6 bids, we interviewed via Zoom the 2 low bidders. This bidder is very, very impressive with their portfolio of recent work. They do a lot. They're based in Connecticut. They do a lot from New Jersey up through New England, as far as I understand. Most recently in Rhode Island last year, they did the historic East Greenwich Town Hall roofing as well.
Is this coated lead similar to what they used to use for flashing materials in the old days?
I'm not 100% certain on that, Kate, but I can ask our architects if that is the case.
And is there a warranty with this work?
Yes,
And how long is the warranty?
I believe it's 1 year as is our usual process.
That's it?
But I will check into that and get back to you.
I personally think that 1 year for a project like this is
Well,
probably
you know,
not a long enough warranty.
That's probably for, our usual 1 year is for, obviously, the workmanship. The owner of the company, I asked basically a point blank question when we interviewed him. What is the life cycle of, what's the longevity of the two products that were being looked at? And he basically told me a coated lead is going to last, will have the similar longevity of a slate roof, which is 100 years.
I would like to really see us get something in writing other than 1 year.
Mr. Riccio, could you please talk to the bidder and see if you can get those, at least something in writing in terms of that?
I will get the answer. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be warranted for 100 years.
Right.
Well, obviously, but I mean, it should be something more than 1 year for $1 million.
Okay, I'll follow up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Are we ready to vote? All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed?
I want a warranty.
Okay,
The motion passes 6-1 with Counselor Leonard opposed.
thank you.
Action number 5970.
This is a recommendation of the Public Services recommending the award of a contract to Hartford Paving Corporation of Johnston, Rhode Island, using the State of Rhode Island Master Price Agreement number 492, Site Improvements Award number 3650119 for the purpose of providing construction improvements to install new curbing, sidewalks, and asphalt along Thames Street from Church Street to Mill Street, and not to exceed the amount of $52,250. I move approval, and this is currently budgeted.
Second.
There's a motion and second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Action number 5971.
Yes, this is a recommendation from the Department of Public Services for the approval of the attached solid waste and recycling services agreement between Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation and the City of Newport for the period commencing upon the date of municipal execution via signature through June 30th, 2023. And this has no fiscal impact.
You move passage?
I move approval, sorry.
Second?
Second.
Motion and second discussion. Counselor Leonard.
Yeah, I have a few questions that I think the public would like to hear. This contract that goes into effect, is there is part of this contract that on occasion, as we've had in this last contract, where hazardous materials like paint are are allowed to be dropped off at certain collection places?
City manager? Are you familiar with the contract or,
Mr. Whitio is familiar with the contract. Bill, if you can comment on this,
Yes.
please.
Yes, as you know, this is a standard 2-year contract. Eco depots are held by Resource Recovery, either up at their facility in Johnston, or they do have some mobile sites. We have been a site over the past few years. We didn't have one last year because of COVID. We're hoping to do something possibly in the fall. If not fall, it'll be next spring.
Okay, so those will be part of this contract.
It's this contract is what we're allowed to bring by volume,
understand.
all of that stuff.
I know that goes by tonnage and so forth.
Exactly.
So taking that into account, does this contract still allow, for example, two dump loads by the public with a property owner?
No, that has, Kate, that has nothing to do with this. This is a contract every municipal government enters into with Resource Recovery to bring residential waste to the landfill.
I understand that. I understand.
Okay, you're referring to, excuse me, you're referring to our waste hauling contract. That's what you're referring to, in the use of the transfer station, which is a
That's right.
byproduct of, this is a separate
tonnage.
contract that's required to dump the materials there.
I
You need to have
understand
a
that.
separate contract.
And that's by tonnage, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I understood that. I understand all that. So but my last question is, I know that the legislature was going to scoop funds from Rhode Island Resource Recovery last year. Did that happen, and would that have affected this contract or not?
No, that didn't happen.
I don't believe that happened. And that's a topic that comes up at all of the intermunicipal meetings that are had with Resource Recovery, because, we're all concerned that as localities, that the monies that are there are needed to continue allowing us to be the primary waste that is sent there. So they didn't take it last year. I don't know if there's another bill pending or anything.
All right, so I'm looking at this contract, it looks to me, but somebody may want to clarify that this contract we will pay $90 per ton for disposal. And then then it says during fiscal year 2023, we agree to pay 100 per ton for disposal. And is that the same? I think it's the same
Kate,
number we paid
Kate,
this year.
You are looking, what you're looking at on page 2. Again, as Joe mentioned earlier, devil in the details. It's 90 if you go over your established annual municipal solid waste cap, which is a maximum tonnage that's set based on population.
All right, I just wanted all that clarified. Okay.
Yeah, we have never to date.
Yeah, we didn't go
our
over.
cap.
No, I know we hadn't gone over. And this also covers the leaf and yard waste.
It does, but we don't take our stuff there. We take ours up to Portsmouth.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
are there any other questions? Hearing none, are we ready to vote? All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Memorandum from Patricia Reynolds, Director of Planning and Economic Development, update on the Transportation Master Plan.
Councilor
Joe
Sykes.
Nicholson, City Manager. We can certainly have Trish give the Reader's Digest version of her memorandum. if the council so wishes.
I think maybe just a couple comments from Trish, and it would be helpful for the audience. Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everybody. I'm here for a very quick update on the Transportation Master Plan. We've made some substantial progress. A consultant's been selected, Tool Design from Boston. They're a very well-respected consultant that's done other work here in the state. Their proposal is attached to the agenda, so you'll be able to take a look at that. There was a project kickoff meeting held on March 19th. It was attended by the consultant, by city staff, and by members of statewide planning. And there are going to be regularly scheduled meetings held every 2 weeks for the project and monthly reports prepared. And I'll make sure to include that in my monthly report to the City Council so you can keep updated on the progress of the plan. Right now, we're working on the first 3 tasks. There are, I think, 6 total. There are data collection, documentation of the existing conditions, and we're refining the public engagement plan. And our hope is to have some sort of outdoor in-person events starting this June for the public outreach. And that's my very short Reader's Digest version. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there any questions for the Director of Planning? Yes, Councilor Leonard, and then Councilor.
Just a couple of things. Thank you for working so hard on this, Trish. Appreciate it. I see
You're
that
welcome.
there's a Citizens Advisory Committee that will be comprised of the key resident stakeholders. And it says diverse interests in Newport's mobility issues, because I think everybody wants to alleviate the traffic and get people to easily move from one part of town to the other. One thing I would just like to make as a caution, this group, I looked them up, I read a lot, does have a really good reputation. I would just like to suggest that we have in the past, way before your time, Trish Reynolds, one thing that stayed in my head that I hope we don't see again was the Thames Streetscape plan that the city paid $300,000 for and could never be implemented because the narrow Thames Street itself, it was not possible to put all of that pedestrian huge sidewalks and bike lanes in such a narrow street. And so that plan basically was paid for, and I really think shouldn't have been paid for, but it happened. So knowing that, I would just like to see that we do this carefully because it's so needed and that so many people have an interest. And I think that it will really help the city economically, as well as, like I said, moving people from place to place and maybe alleviating a lot of traffic in the summer. So I'm happy to see this moving forward. I just think we have to be cautiously mindful that we have a lot of narrow streets.
Thank you. Councilor Bova and then Councilor McCallum.
Thank you. I also want to say thank you to the city, to the Director of Planning. I know that this has been an ongoing effort, and I appreciate it. I wanted to ask a little bit about the Citizens Advisory Committee because I saw, you asked for each council member will be asked to identify a resident to invite on, and then you said at least 5 TMP ambassadors will be selected to serve on the committee. And I just wanted clarification. So 5 out of the 7 will be picked and only 5 will be 5 people on that committee? Is that what you're?
No, my understanding is there'll be 7, right, for one for each council person. And then in addition to each council person's appointment, we have 118 people that have volunteered to be transportation ambassadors. Out of that pool, anybody that's also interested in serving on this will be selected. There'll be an application process for those additional members.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
McCalla?
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Trish, I'd also like to, for the third time, say thank you very much to the department, as well as
You're welcome.
all that are involved. I'm actually also want to highlight the fact that I'm pretty excited that that there is some meeting with the DOT also that has been happening, because I think it's been a while since we've kind of heard from the DOT. And I was just wondering, is there anything that we should be thinking of that the DOT had shared maybe that we should be starting to consider at all?
So as part of this, we've been regularly meeting with both members of RIPTA and DOT. They belong to this sort of group that we go for our regularly scheduled meetings. So they're going to be included as part of the process all along. And so we'll be able to get feedback from both of those state agencies. In addition to what's happening at the ramp realignment project, is that what your question's about? Or more just generally DOT?
Yes. Yes.
So,
yeah, sorry.
Right. So the ramp project is actually progressing very nicely. And I think that the project engineer is scheduled to come and give it a report back to the city council. I'd have to check with the city manager on that. But I know that they have put the design out for bid, and they have had gotten responses, and they're in the process of selecting a contractor for that to begin construction.
And I'm wondering, with the construction, I'm also thinking about like the American Rescue Plan and how it calls for some funding in regard, and I think in particular broadband is one of the opportunities that we have. And I wonder, like, I think that my concern is the DOT going to pave the roads only for us to rip it back up again to insert more stuff? Like, I just want to make sure that or understand that process a little bit more.
That is definitely a concern for us also, even with the projected new development in the north end, to make sure that we get all of the necessary underground stuff in, or at least provide for it as we go through with the Pell Bridge ramp realignment project. And we are consulting regularly with DOT about that.
Angela, you're muted again.
I'm sorry, my computer is like going against me. I keep pressing the mute button and it just won't let me. The other thing is just food for thought. I didn't realize also, as we're building all of these bike and pedestrian like safety infrastructures as part of the goal for the master transportation plan, it was recently brought to my attention that we don't have any bike rentals in the city of Newport anymore. And I'm just giving that again for food for thought, because like while we're creating all of these bike, kind of like infrastructure, I think it's important to kind of know that we're building all of this stuff, and maybe we need to be thinking about access to those tools. So anyway, just my thought, food for thought. I know there's no response to that. It's just.
Thank you. Councilor Leonard?
I too agree that conduits under wherever the roads are going to be, I think the conduits are really, really important for future growth. And a question I had, Ms. Reynolds said that about 118 people will be chosen and be able to apply as ambassadors to this group. And would that be? They've already.
No, actually what happened, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That happened when we were doing the original public meetings before we did the RFP.
Oh, okay,
we had some initial public outreach, and we asked people if they would be interested in serving as transportation ambassadors. And we had 118 people sign up and saying they'd be welcome the opportunity to help with the plan, and they would be available for different tasks as we needed them. So we do have this resource of these people who are willing to volunteer their time. They've already volunteered for that.
Okay, now are these applicants or people who've been involved citywide or mainly from one part of the city? Because I think it's important that we stress that it's people from all over the city that may have different perspectives.
They were people that were involved during the initial public outreach, and they were either attending the meetings that we had or they answered the survey. So opportunities existed all across the city for people to get involved.
Thank you very much.
Councilor Bova.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask a follow-up question. When it comes to the transportation and ambassadors, I know, I mean, it's been a while since we had those initial public meetings. If there is someone who is like watching this and is thinking they want to get involved, what would be the best way for them to do that?
They could send us an email, and we'd be happy to include them in the process.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Trish. Really.
You're welcome.
Thank
you. Good night.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. The manager did.
I was just waving Trish good night. Sorry, I shouldn't have raised my hand.
I know.
Sorry about that.
Okay. If there's no other, yes, Councilor McCalla.
Sorry, just a random question. Where can people find the list of ambassadors when the list is finalized, if it hasn't already?
I think Pat or Trish, there she is. Do you have the list at the planning department, Trish?
We do have the list now. We're not really making it public right now because it does have some personal information on it. So we'll be working on making that accessible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are we ready to vote? Okay.
What are we voting on?
Oh, well, I was just going to accept the memo.
That's fine. That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, there's a motion second to accept the memorandum. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Madam Clerk?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
A motion to adjourn as council and convene as Board of License Commissioners.
Second. The motion, we're now sitting as Board of License Commissioners, license and permits. Madam Clerk?
Yes, did you vote on that adjournment?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Motion to adjourn as License Commissioners, please raise your right hand.
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Good, sorry. We are now sitting as the Board of License Commissioners. Licenses and permits?
Application for a Sunday selling license, Class A liquor store, new location, Shiva Corporation, DBA Downtown Liquors, 202 Thames Street.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Communication from Turner C. Scott on behalf of Radish Patch LLC, 580 Thames Street, holder of a Class BL alcoholic beverage license.
Is Mr. Scott on the line?
I believe he is, or he was earlier. No?
Yes, he is, Madam Chair.
There he is. Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair, may I help you?
Yeah, maybe if you can just explain the letter for public reasons.
Ms. Swistak asked me to comment on the inclusion of the noodle aspect of this license to the council. So I tried to explain what happened in my letter of April 1st. This license was transferred by the council to locations at B102, 103, and 104. at Wellington Plaza. 101 and 102 were the Bank of Newport at one point, and 103 and 104 were other license holders and restaurants in there. It's sort of like a roundabout in there for a while for licenses. When it came up for consideration, there was some talk about, and there has been some previous talk when I wasn't representing the Radish Patch, about including 101, and one of the plans showed 101 connected to 102. You granted the license for 102, 103, and 104, but required that 101 be closed and not included in that. That has happened. They've closed that off. And at one point before the license transfer, there was a pop-up noodle place there. That was very good. Kathy and I used it all the time. When the license transferred, the noodle place had to move out, but the public and people were saying, where's the noodle place? How come we can't get any noodles down there? So rather than not have the noodles, my client sought out the person who ran that pop-up noodle place and asked him to establish a kitchen, which had been approved by the council and it has been approved by the state, to run the license to actually be able to serve noodles in 102. So what they did was they hired him as a cook to be there. Everybody who is hired and is working in the noodle place is hired and works for Radish Patch. So I just wanted to lay that on the line and let everybody know what's happened down there. And that's the reason for that's the reason for this letter. This is really no different than what's happened at Barcino with the taco place, pop-up taco place, and Barcino saying, no, wait a second, I want you to be in our group. So they've taken over that, and they're going to have their own little taco place next to Barcino.
Right. Okay, thank you. Councilor Leonard.
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. Scott during the week because I wanted clarification myself. When this item came up on the docket this past year, I was the only one on the council that did not vote to put one liquor license into 3 or 4 units.
3 units.
I said 3 or 4, so.
Yeah, I just make sure it's 3.
So it passed where one liquor license expanded into 3 units, and I understand that. So my question is, just for clarification here, so this unit that will be the noodles place, the noodle person cook will be an employee of Radish Patch, correct?
Correct.
And that unit would not have or look for an expansion to have the same liquor license expanded into a 4th unit?
No, I don't think there's no plans right now to have the liquor license expanded into 101, which is the far from Thames Street. It's where the Bank Newport used to be, and you drive up there next to that, and the ATM and the drive-up window is there. There's no plans to have an expansion into that location. You'll note that on the plans, though, Kate, that we had this Simply Italian place, Vieste, is closest to Thames Street. The middle one is the wine bar and eatery called Vino, and then there's the Yagi Noodles place. They're all 3 connected. And the plan is to be able to have in the middle unit a sort of a combined menu, and sort of a menu that you'd be able to get something of Yagi Noodles and also something from Vieste. So and they're all 3 connected. They're all 3 connected. Every employee is an employee of Radish Patch. All liquors is controlled by Radish Patch. All food is controlled by Radish Patch, and all employees are controlled by Radish Patch.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to receive the communication from Turner Scott.
Second.
Okay, are there any other questions? Hearing none. We'll just receive it. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? The ayes have, whoops,
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
thank you.
A public hearing on the application of 8 to 10 Broadway Newport LLC, DBA Hope on Broadway, holder of a Class BV alcoholic beverage license to transfer ownership and location to Bloody Bull LLC, DBA Manchester House at 24 Lees Wharf. In addition, there is a request to convert the BV license to a BT upon issuance.
Okay, is there anyone, this is a hearing, is there anyone here representing,
Well, could I make a motion to approve first?
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Second,
Motion to approve.
second.
There's a motion and second to approve. Is there anybody here representing the,
Do the public hearing first.
yes, this is a public hearing.
Sorry.
Is there anybody here for the applicant or the applicant to speak?
Madam Chair, Attorney David Martland is present.
Okay. With Mr. Martland. Okay.
Yes. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Can everyone hear me correct? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thank you for allowing us to be here this evening. This is an application. My client is Bloody Bull LLC, doing business as Manchester House. My clients, Howard Cushing and Mark Blaffer, are the members of the LLC. They've acquired property at 24 Lees Wharf, and we've gone through the zoning process to permit a hotel with a restaurant on the property, and we've received the zoning approvals for that. We understood that the 810 Broadway license, which is a BV license, was available and for sale. We've entered into a purchase and sale agreement for that license, which obviously would be subject to the approval of the city council, authorizing the transfer of the license to my clients, as well as to transfer the location of the license to 24 Lees Wharf, to the hotel that is going to be built there. We anticipate a 2023 opening of the facility. And upon the transfer and the issuance, we would suggest the condition be placed that at that point, the license would convert from a BV license to a BT when it was relocated to the completed facility. I'm happy to answer any questions that the council may have concerning this proposal.
Yes, Councilor Leonard.
Yeah, I'm just thinking ahead here. All right, so the goal is when the completion of this building, that the BV license that's purchased and transferred now would then become a BT license. So my question to the solicitor would be, how many BV licenses do we have and can have, and how many BT license do we have and can have, and would we have to change the numbers then so that we don't have a license that stays out there?
We would have to change the ordinances to adjust the caps, because we're at the limit for both licenses. So we'd have to do that. So in terms of the request that the transfer be conditioned on that there be this conversion in the future, I don't, in my own opinion, I don't think that is advisable. You would have this license out there with such a condition for over 2 years on it. what would have to happen is that when they're ready to operate, or any point up to that point, that they request with the council with ordinances submitted at the same time to convert to retire one BV license and increase the BT licenses, that way converting the licenses.
Yeah, this way they would know ahead of time, so they'd prepare for it. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe a member of the public, or no, one of the owners, Mr. Wort Bathler. Yes, Mr. Bathler. Let's see. Can we unmute Mr. Bathler, please?
Madam Chair, he put his hand down.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Is there anybody else that would, any other questions from the council? Any questions from the public? Okay,
Madam Chair.
yes, yes, I'm sorry, Councilor Bova.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, I guess, kind of follow up with the city solicitor. So to make sure I understand, what you're advising is you don't advise that we transfer it and just let it sit out as a BV?
No.
I'm just trying to understand. Say it
No,
again.
I'm sorry. My understanding, what they were asking is that the transfer be conditioned on that there be this conversion at a later point. My suggestion and the council, I think in terms of management of licenses, that it should be just an outright transfer at this point of a BV license. Because if there's that condition on it, that condition on the transfer remains for another 2 years or so. Is it, if you end up doing that, is it a, a legal, does it result in an illegality? No. My suggestion is just based on our own management of our licenses. But that's actually a decision for the council to make. I think the way the council has been looking at these in the past, that they would be willing to retire a BV license in exchange for a BT license because of the limited use for a BT license.
Right. So how would we, if we, like, would we have to make a new motion, or if we didn't want to have that condition, what would be the best way of doing that?
I think you just a motion to approve the transfer.
Okay.
And then what we wouldn't be able to do, we certainly can't do it today without the ordinances, because you'll have a BV license floating out there. So I would just approve the license transfer at this point.
Are there any other questions by the council?
So motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
There's a motion and second to close the public hearing. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
And motion to approve the transfer?
Second.
There's a motion second to approve the transfer. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
There's a motion second to adjourn. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed?
Unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Right.
Aye.